Hello, hello, happy people. Thank y'all for tuning in. As always, it's your host, Devin Butler, joined by the one, the only,
CJ
CJ
Prosise, man.
Procise.
Thank you, thank you. Glad to
Yeah,
have
in the
y'all. Glad to be
building,
here.
in the
Glad to
place
be
to
here.
be.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
we're joined by a New Jersey legend, a Notre Dame legend, and a football legend, bar none. I mean, Super Bowl champion, 1983 NFL MVP. And also, hits a little better for me because I played in the CFL as well. We got us a two-time CFL All-Star.
Mm.
And he lived in Zom, which is the
Oof,
dorm that I lived in on campus too.
man.
So
Actually,
without any
no.
further ado,
No,
you
that's
didn't?
not true. Everybody says I live in Zom. I lived in Walsh.
Living
Oh,
raw.
I
man.
lived
Oh,
in I
man.
lived in
Wash.
Walsh Hall.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Oh.
okay.
Okay, so I can say it now. Maybe I wish I lived in Zom. Okay.
Nah, that's all right. We'll edit that
Hey,
part out.
I
It's
think
all good.
everybody
It's
want to
all
live in
good. We
Zion.
still
Everybody want
love
to
you,
live in
Joe. We
Zion.
still love you, man. We still love you. But thank you for joining us, Joe. How are you today? Joe Theismann. Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I look forward to having a conversation with you. We've got some really wonderful things happening on campus right now. It's exciting. It's Notre Dame time again, and it's exciting football time. I mean, so many of our sports have done so well. Our women's lacrosse, our women's soccer, our women's basketball, our baseball team. I mean, it's been a wonderful place to be when it comes to athletics at the University of Notre Dame. Not to mention our hockey teams. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just incredible when you look back over the last 2, 3, 4 years and look at what's been accomplished on the ice and on the court and on the different fields, and and now football's kicked off, and I know all three of us are excited about that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
And that
indeed.
brings us to the Lucky Underdogs podcast itself. And, you talking about all the athletes on campus. And that brings us, that's kind of why we came up with this Lucky Underdogs podcast, because we want to target those guys who aren't the guys who get in the media, aren't the guys who get in the high NIL deals, the guys who got to work for every spot they get, every play they get. And you know a lot about this because looking at highlights of you, we knowing you were punt returner, played quarterback, you had to earn your spot. Like you weren't just given
Mhm.
anything. You had to go to the CFL then come back to the NFL. So I think the Lucky Underdog really, you're really really portray what the lucky underdog is, and I'm really happy to have you on. So glad to
Thank you,
have you, man.
CJ.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It's
sir.
it's an honor to be with you guys, and so aptly named, lucky underdogs. I think the lucky part is that we had the chance, and the underdog part was people never really gave us much of an opportunity, or never
Hmm.
thought we could have it, and you had to fight for every opportunity. When I went there in 1967, when I entered Notre Dame, I was one of 13 quarterbacks.
Hmm.
I was 5 feet 10, 152 pounds. And see, back in those days, in the late '60s, what they did is they didn't recruit to specific positions. They didn't recruit a corner. They didn't
Hmm.
recruit a wide receiver. They did, but not in numbers. They recruited quarterbacks in number. And what they did is they made other people something else. So, in
Hmm.
other words, of the 13 guys that I came into college with, 10 of them became running backs, wide receivers,
Yep.
linebackers, DBs. I mean, everybody went, but I was so skinny and small, they didn't know what to do with me. So I
That's
just
Yeah,
so
they
I
had
wound
to.
up, so I wound up, just being a quarterback. And as far as the punt returning went, I loved it. I love being on the field. I,
absolutely,
I don't know how you guys felt, but man, I loved practice. I just loved the
absolutely.
living daylights out of practice. And then when we were freshmen, we weren't eligible. All we were
Mm.
was somebody for the varsity to beat up. And
Yep.
guys like Mike McCoy and those guys just beat the living daylights out of me, to be honest.
Yeah,
No, and
that's some
I
tough
think we
going
kind of
right there.
really
That's tough.
yeah, we definitely relate to that because my freshman year it was all Manti Te'o, Stephon Tuitt, Lewis Nix, them guys just beating me up while I was just playing scout team. And definitely, coming up, man, it's the lucky underdog, man. It's the special teams and the practice, the competition, that's really where it all comes from. So that's
Oh
it's
yeah,
great hearing
special
that.
teams.
Great
Me and
hearing that.
CJ spent a lot of times on special teams together. I
Yes,
mean,
sir. Yes, sir.
I think we were on all four running teams,
Every time, every year.
sophomore, junior, freshman year, all four of them things.
And what's funny,
Yes,
Dev,
sir.
is people ask me all the time if you could go back, if you were healthy enough, if the good Lord gave you one game, where you could go through it and be healthy enough, what would you want to do? I said, let me be a punt returner.
Oh, yeah. Get you one more shot back there. Yes, sir.
I know I can break one, Coach. I know I can. Just create a little scene for me. I had one against the Down. Actually, I started my first 2 years in Washington as a punt returner as well.
Yep.
And I had a return against the Cowboys down there at Texas Stadium. And man, the seas parted in front of me. I mean, all I could do was the goal line. And I wasn't real slow, but I wasn't real fast. I was more, I could make people miss. But, on a punt return, when people are running down at you, you make about 9 of them miss. They're gone by.
Yeah. You're
so,
right.
man, it parts its ways, and I'm running up the field, and somebody catches my foot. And I go flat. I go on my face, and I looked up, and man, there was still nobody in front of me. I'm going,
oh man,
that could have been my opportunity right there.
I hope it wasn't a punter.
No, it wasn't. It was something really fast.
All right, nice.
At least that makes up for it.
As you were telling that story, I'm from DC, but I'm a Cowboys fan. So that story, I was a little torn on it. I was like, Don't ask me how it happened. My parents are from Dallas.
Everybody has the right to like somebody, but sometimes you make the wrong choices in life. We all know that happens. I think this is going to be a very interesting year for the Cowboys. Talk a little pro ball. I think, obviously for Dak, it's a big year. For Mike McCarthy, it's a big year. He's taken over the offense. There is. I made this comment last year. See if you agree with me as a Cowboy fan. And CJ, who's your team?
I'm a Seattle.
I like Seattle. Seattle's my sleeper this year.
Oh yeah, Seattle to my Seattle.
Cowboys last year were the most talented, undisciplined football team in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They made mistakes to beat themselves on umpteen occasions, lining up offsides, illegal hit, late hit. Not even you name it, they did it. They went down the entire checklist of how can we lose a football game, and that's what they did last year. But that is one talented football team.
And I think even from the head coach down, kind of sometimes from the time management, as far as the game management wise, he's not sometimes the best.
Not the brightest. I got a lot of faith.
Football more than anything. College football, it's amazing how they lose track of timeouts. It's like in the middle of the first quarter, clock's running down, and they take a timeout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They're like gold to us. Playing the quarterback position. I used to run the 2-minute drill myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get signals in from the sidelines. We knew exactly what we were going to do.
Right.
We had about 5 basic pass plays, about 3 runs. Right.
Yep.
That's what we did. And that's the way I ran the offense. We ran it efficiently. We ran it quickly. We called 2 plays at a time. And it was my job to keep an eye on the clock. I also had a lucky thing in Washington, for example, just like at Notre Dame, I was the holder for the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Helton was the kicker with us at Notre Dame. And then Mark Mosley was an MVP in 1982 in Washington. He was the kicker. I knew exactly how much, how close we had to get to be able to have him have an opportunity to make kicks. So a little bit of
super involved in that operation time. And then even if you want to build any wrinkles off of that, you've got the man right there. So
absolutely. They always say you're the most prepared. They always say you're the most prepared. Yes, sir.
We just have, it goes with the position. It's the responsibility that goes with the position. You basically need to know what everybody's doing. And even today, I think you guys will agree with me. I think the most underappreciated position besides running back, okay, to be honest with you. They're getting no love. But the center position is one of the most underrated and underappreciated positions. I mean,
second hardest position on the field for sure.
Absolutely. The cornerback's pretty
hard. Corner, I would say, corner's up there. Corner's up there, but, I think just
quarterback's a pretty important position.
I would say, quarterbacks are definitely one. I say corner and center. I mean, they're up there because, center, you got to, especially you going against a guy like Aaron Donald, exactly, then you got to go get all the checks, make sure everybody's lined up. Man, it's a tough position for sure.
And how do you play corner today at any level, college level, pro level?
Man,
I mean, the only thing that's tough, Devin, this, you were up in the CFL. In the CFL, all 5 receivers are at full speed when they hit the line of scrimmage.
They get that 10-yard head start, that 10-yard motion. Dangerous.
And the defensive line has to be a yard off the ball. I mean, I love playing up there man. I
Oh
I
yeah,
really
yeah. I can imagine playing
Yeah.
offense in the CFL is probably lovely. And
Yeah,
then in the
really is.
return game, they got to give you 5-yard halo in the return game.
Did
Like,
I
oh man,
return
this is just easy.
I return kicks up there too. So
Oh yeah.
for people that don't understand that are watching, don't understand the Canadian Football League, if you miss a extra point, if you miss a field goal, for example, or you punt the ball in the end zone, if it's not returned out, it's considered a rouge or a single, especially with
Mhm.
punts. So at the end of a half or the end of a game, it was my job to catch the ball and punt it back out of the end zone to save a point if we had to.
wow,
Man, yeah.
So
Those,
it's
those
like,
come in handy. I've
I'm
seen
sure,
games
yeah,
lost off of those. I've seen
yeah, I'm
games
sure.
lost,
Yeah,
won and lost off of that.
especially
love
Oh
it.
I'm
yeah.
sure like playoff games and stuff. You got to like make sure you
Oh
stand on top of
yes.
them type of plays
Absolutely.
because them every point matters.
Yep.
Every
Mhm.
point matters. You know that, yeah.
Yeah, no, they do that. They make that an emphasis every year when the international players come up to Canada and they're in training camp. They're like, hey, make sure you know what we're trying to get done here
Right.
because
Yeah,
don't
Know
just
the
jog
rules.
off the field think it's a touchback. Like, no,
Know the
no, no.
rules, man. That's it.
yeah,
You know,
Most
I tell you,
definitely.
watching the Irish over the last couple of weeks, I think,
absolutely.
last year we had a couple games get away from us. I think the Marshall game was a game everybody would have conceded and said, okay, it's a game we should have won. Navy's always been a thorn in our side. I mean,
Always.
I'll tell you something. If I was, not that I'm wanting to coach, but if I was having any input into what Navy does, because they run that triple option so well, I would put together a passing package off of it, and you would have people so wide open, like they did against us.
Yeah.
Oh
They
yeah,
had a
they
couple
had
times
some
they had
guys get
people
behind the DBs.
wide open all
Oh
over
man.
the place. You
Hmm.
could be really dangerous. But these last two games, if we're going to be the kind of football team that Marcus wants us to be and us as fans want to be, this is the way they should go.
Yeah.
We should beat Middle Tennessee. We
Mm.
should beat
Oh
Navy.
yeah,
We should
Yeah.
beat people
handedly
Yeah.
too.
just like we did. Now, State's going to
Mhm.
be a little bit more of a test for us before we get ready for Ohio State. I'm going to be out for the Ohio State game, so I'm doing
Okay.
a
Okay.
doing an
Okay.
autograph session at the bookstore.
Okay. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
awesome. Awesome. Oh
we
yeah.
might have
It's
to drive up there and see if I
Yeah.
can come get me a football
well,
jersey
hey,
or something.
I'll give you an autograph. I'll give you an autograph book.
Yes,
No
sir. Yes,
problem.
sir.
So,
My
I'm,
dad.
so
I'm
Joe,
looking forward to
how
it.
are you feeling about our quarterback right now? Because I mean, everybody's buzzing. I'm loving him as playing as an X receiver,
Yeah.
running back. I would have loved to have that type of guy, but under center, just being able to giving it to all the targets that we had when we were there. So, what are you feeling about the Sam Hartman guy? How are you
I
feeling about
like Sam. I was
him?
out doing some stuff on campus just before the spring game, and I had a chance to visit with him. Had a chance to talk to him. We text him. I text him before every game. I text him after a game.
Yeah. Oh,
Just,
nice, nice.
just
There you go.
not critiquing
Yeah, I
him.
know
Yeah,
that does you
You
good.
know,
yeah,
it,
yeah.
Yeah,
it
that
was
does your
funny
heart
listening
good.
to him. I told him, I said, being in Ireland was a great experience for the guys, but
Mm,
I tell you, I'm curious to see what kind of goosebumps you get when you run into that stadium for the first time
it's a
with that
whole
Notre
nother
Dame
level.
uniform on, the band
Yeah.
going crazy, the fans going crazy, and he said, "Man, it was incredible."
Oh
But
yeah.
I really like him. I mean, it's his sixth year. He's
Hmm.
thrown a
Yeah.
lot of footballs. This is really, you'd have to say, over the last, other than Jack having the year he had a few years back, um, we really haven't had this kind of a player at the position. Ian
Absolutely.
could move around, and Tyler was so young last year, wound up getting hurt, and so everybody's
Mhm.
in and out. Drew's in and out, and I think Sam fits the mold. Sam reminds me a lot of Caleb Williams out in USC.
Yeah.
He's a
Mm.
big guy, throws the
Yeah.
ball well, has good
Yeah.
mobility if he needs to. And I think Jared Parker's done a terrific job with this offense. We have been basically a tight end, run the football offense for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
now our wide receivers are involved. Obviously, he's coached the position, so he knows. But, and Sam's the kind of guy who can get it out there. The thing that impresses me, though, is our defense. Those
Absolutely.
guys
Always. Yeah.
our
Yes.
D line we're always putting guys into the pros. Our offensive line, we're always putting guys into the pros.
Hmm.
But now you look at the corners, the safeties, the wide
My
receivers.
DBs.
Yes.
Yeah, we got speed.
Got a lot of speed, a lot of speed, a lot of depth,
And a lot of toughness. That's
physicality, a
what
lot of
That's
physicality.
what I like.
Yes,
That
yeah,
Marcus
physicality
done a
that
great
the
job.
linebackers have.
absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
When you got a former linebacker as a head coach, the whole team is going to follow that physical mindset on the football field. Like it's inevitable. I feel like.
Well, he set the tone. I thought he set the tone last year. Well, the guys set the tone when he was
Yes,
announced as head coach. How everybody went nuts in the locker room.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yes,
I let you
you
know.
talk about appreciation for someone, and he earned that respect. I was having a conversation today with a buddy of mine, a young man that's a very, very dear friend of mine, and we were talking about that term leadership and respect. Respect is something you have to earn.
mm-hmm.
Leadership is something you exhibit, but you don't have to be vocal about it. Everybody knows. They know if you're a leader.
Yep.
They know if you have the ability to be able to get the job done under pressure, to do the things that you need to do, to not wilt under pressure. At the end of the game, it's the guys that say, "Hey, give me the ball. Let me make a play.
Mhm.
If you're a corner, throw it at me."
Mhm.
Those kind of things. And respect is the most important thing anybody can have. As a quarterback, we're talking about the position, which is funny. The quarterback position is obviously, I think it's the toughest position to play in all of professional sports, and it's darn tough at the collegiate level, especially now with everybody moving around all over
Yeah,
the place.
absolutely. Yeah.
Hey guys, wouldn't we like to have had NILs then?
Even a couple of years ago, like man, it's like,
Yeah.
We
and
just
even
have our own TV show. Oh no, we
oh
never
man,
have a TV
Mhm.
network.
you're right.
Network. Yep, that's
Yeah,
the one right there.
Respect,
Moguls. It'd
and
be some
respect is
moguls
like
out here.
you don't have to be liked. Not everybody's going to like everybody, but man, you have to be respected. When all those guys, when you put your chin straps on and you get out on that football field, the guys got to know that they can count on. You have to count on the guy next to you, but you have to count on the guy behind the center. And I think what Sam has been able to do is through training, through the training camps, through spring games, through all that practice. I think the guys look at him and say, "Hey, look, there's our guy."
yeah.
But again, he's his sixth year. I don't know if he's going to come back for a seventh. Who knows?
I
Yeah.
don't think he'll need one. He shouldn't need one
Nah,
after this
yeah,
season.
hopefully
Shouldn't
not.
need one
Yeah, I
after
think
this one.
he's shown enough. He's definitely
He'll be on
shown enough.
TV. He'll be on TV 14 times this year, so he should have enough
He's
enough
always on
film.
TV.
Yeah, he should have enough film.
Hey,
Yeah.
all right. I got a question for each of you. Devin, you go
All right.
first. All right.
All right.
Should Notre Dame join a conference?
No, I don't think they should, and I know that it's tricky now with Stanford joining the ACC, so that's going to throw a wrinkle into the rivalry games versus the league games. But I'm a fan of us remaining independent. I love the power that brings us and the notoriety that brings to us. We're able to really dictate, and whatever we do, we do our way. And I love that about Notre Dame. That's something that stuck out to me when I was in high school, and I want them to stay independent. I think it's nice. I mean, a championship game would be cool to play in an ACC championship game, but I also think that it's something to be able to go 12-0 and have the stacked schedules that we can have and not have to win it, not have to play a championship game and still be in the college football playoffs, especially with the expansion of the playoffs as well. I think it'll be pretty easy for us to get
How about you, CJ?
I'm still kind of torn. I'm always a little torn on it. I enjoy the kind of the bold ties we get from the ACC for sure. I love being independent and everything. But I definitely think I would like to just be in the conference. I always would like to be in. I always thought we should be in the Big Ten. I know for ACC wise, it's
They don't
probably
want
better
to play
better,
us.
exactly. But I know ACC better for
Yeah,
all the
like
other
that.
sports, like basketball and then like lacrosse is ACC like way better, and soccer and everything's like probably better for Notre Dame, but it kind of more matches us. But the Big Ten, I always wanted to play them football wise. Like that was kind of the conference I wanted to be in personally. So that was kind of. That's just me personally, like, Notre Dame, but we definitely got to stay independent. That's our power. That keeps us who we are, I feel like, for sure.
What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Guys, I agree with you. I think being independent gives us options and opportunities. I think Jack's done a real good navigating. Jack Schwarbuck, our AD, has done a really good job navigating all of the things that are going on. And one of the questions I ask people nowadays when they say, should Notre Dame join a conference? Say, what conference? Big 10, Big 12, everything's changing.
Yeah.
Shifting all the way around.
Stanford, Cal, crying out loud, SMU. Stanford and Cal don't get any money for 3 years. SMU doesn't get anything for 9 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
I saw that today, actually.
I just sort of scratched my head a little bit. I like where we are
Yeah.
until there's a little bit more of a defined conference that we can look at and say, what, and I've always asked this question: what does Notre Dame bring to a conference? And what would a conference bring to Notre
Notre
Dame?
Dame.
I think we
Exactly.
bring a lot
Yeah,
more
that's
than
the one.
a
Exactly.
conference would. And to me,
Sure.
I'd rather compete for the big prize. It's like let's take the NFL, okay, as an example. You're not competing for a NFC East title. That's a
Yeah.
conference title.
Right.
Okay, that's basically a conference title. You're playing everybody in your conference. You won the title. Big deal. It's
Right.
all it does in the NFL. It gives you maybe a bye, maybe an opportunity to have a little
Home
bit of
game. You might
yeah,
get a home game.
Yeah, make it a little
Yeah.
home field.
Might
but
get a home game.
you want to put a ring on your finger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's the goal. That's the goal every season.
That's what
For
you want.
sure.
You want a national championship. And,
Absolutely.
we've been close. I'm excited about this football team of ours. I think we've got some tests coming up. Like I said, the teams that we're supposed to handle, we have,
Yes.
and now we're going to start to get into. We've got Clemson coming up, got USC coming up, obviously Ohio State, but you can't stub your toe along the way like we have in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't
And I think we've got the experience and the attitude that'll deter that from happening.
Yeah.
Especially with Sam, I think this team is definitely going to go a long way. One of the segments that CJ and I have here, we give our underdogs of the week for the Notre Dame game, and I'll start mine. And I loved the way Angeli played out there when he got his snaps. I loved the confidence and the poise that he had in the pocket, and I think his touchdown throw, that late touchdown throw that he had, was, in my opinion, that was probably one of the best plays of the game. I mean, he didn't panic. He sat in there, he shook off some blockers, and he delivered a strike downfield. So how important do you think it is for Steve to get some experience early in his career or early in the season, and then, especially for next year, since Sam Hartman won't be back, and it'll be good for Steve. How do you feel about that?
I think it's vital. I was really like you. I was glad to see him get on the field. I was glad to see him perform the way he did. It's these games are providing Marcus with some great opportunities, and Jared, they're giving him a chance to be able to get him some reps. We all know you can listen. I tell people all the time, I could read a book on tennis. I could learn everything about tennis. And now you want me to go play Rafael Nadal. What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Say good luck with that.
If you're standing on the sidelines just signaling things, what are you learning?
Right.
No, I think these games are providing us with an opportunity for the what if.
Yeah.
What if something happens to Sam? Where do you go?
Right.
Look at Tyler's situation a year ago. You're starting at Notre Dame. You're in your third year or second year, I guess it was second or third year, and you're opening at Ohio State. How's that for a beginning?
It's no bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's no bigger than that.
Whereas Steve's got a chance now to sort of feel his way in, and they get to know him. He gets to know the offense. He gets to know the guys. The guys get to know him. I think it was Devin. It's a perfect analysis of somebody who's taking advantage of an opportunity that is being presented to him.
Definitely.
And so, actually, a question I want to ask you too, just because we're on the topic now. So, the transfer portal, big thing right now. NIL, big thing right now. So, with Notre Dame bringing in a guy like Sam Hartman, do you think moving forward is that our new formula? Is that our new agenda? Because in the past, we really haven't been able to develop a quarterback to the place where Sam Hartman is. And, obviously every guy isn't going to come in and be that guy, but we haven't had that guy in a while now. So do you think that that's our new formula to maybe bring in a guy, or,
I think it opened the door for us. I've never felt like the portal was something that would benefit college football.
Yeah.
I think the NIL created, just as a sidebar, the NIL created a situation where we no longer have amateur sports in college at the college level.
Absolutely,
it's semi-professional sports played by young people.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
But as far as the portal goes, up until we got Sam, I wasn't a fan.
Right. Yeah.
Now, but I don't see us at Notre Dame going whole hog like they did say at USC.
Right.
USC, I think they brought in some 22 guys. I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what. Dion's a dear friend of mine, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Prime,
yeah. They got a whole
show, man. Did they put on a show or what?
Oh man.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I was tuned in from kickoff to kick
I was
to
too.
the end. It was
I didn't even
that was
get
a
up.
hell of a
I didn't
game.
even get up to go get something till
Yeah.
half.
That was just such a great game.
Get something to drink at halftime.
I was at Disney World with my son, and I'm over here on my phone trying to check the game the whole time. So listen, it was that exciting. Trust me.
You on the teacups, trying to check the score, spinning out. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I think
man.
you know what? I think it's great for Colorado. I think it's great for college football.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
what we saw last night with LSU and Florida State. I've known Mike Norvell for a long, long time, and of course Coach Kelly for a long time. And I'll tell you, those guys in the second half at Florida State look like a bunch of men.
Yeah.
They really
They were
did.
playing some ball. That
I
quarterback
think
was
LSU is going to be a heck of a football team going forward, but they just they got shell shocked early out, and it's going to be interesting. Alabama's Alabama,
Oh, yeah.
Georgia's Georgia, Michigan's Michigan, Notre Dame is Notre Dame. I think it's going to be fun. What scares me about the portal and the NIL situation is the bigger schools that have the opportunity to offer more to the athletes will be the ones that will get those athletes. But there's a whole lot of very, very good football players that are not in Division I. They're not getting NIL deals. They're not going to move around. Hey, here's a question, guys. How do you recruit as a coach today, knowing full well that you've got yourself a 5-star coming out of high school? And by the way, they're awarding NILs to high school kids, which is just
crazy.
Getting money, they're getting paid. It's crazy.
How do you recruit? I mean, how do I sit down in somebody's living room knowing that there are 10 other major colleges after this kid? We sit down and he decides to go to my school. I've heard coaches, they cannot put out a depth chart for the spring game.
Because those kids will be out of there after that.
I mean, come on.
You need
go.
Man, it's tough.
It is. It's made it more difficult. And that's why I think the integrity at the University of Notre Dame, who we are as a college, I think a lot of people go there because of that. Absolutely. And, they have great opportunity to get the exposure they want if they want to move on to the next level. But I really, it makes me so proud to wear, I can't wear my class ring because it doesn't even fit over my pinky. I got it says 152 pounds.
I think when you ask about the recruiting in today's climate, I think it's really important that you're getting those right kind of kids, those kids that are driven by the right kinds of things. Sure. So I think, and I think recruitment always has been very driven by the families and the parents. I think that's something that's a real driving factor in recruitment. So, there's those people that are driven by the flash and they just want the bling. And then you got those people that want somebody that truly connects with them and somebody that can understand where they're coming from. And I think that it's definitely made it a challenge. But I think that it just puts more of a challenge on the parents of the kids nowadays. Yeah. I think it's not so much a challenge on the institutions and the coaches. I think it's more so on the parents in today's society that have the real troubles with this recruiting thing.
And I think the other part of it too with NILs, I think there's financial need by some of these young guys for their families.
Absolutely.
You've got yourself a terrific young high school football player. Now, not only is he going to get a scholarship, which is worth at Notre Dame about $250 million, Not yet.
Not yet.
Do the right things. 60,000 a year, something like that. So I don't know what the number is, but you now not only do you get the scholarship, but you also have an opportunity to be able to take care of your family at a very young age, and you just pray and hope that there's responsibility there, so that the opportunity that's presented to them is going to be able to provide that opportunity for their family as well.
Yeah. And I think it speaks a lot. I think it speaks a lot to Coach Freeman as well. When you look on the field on Saturday and you see a lot of juniors, seniors, lot of older guys on the field, guys not transferring out, who really stand there for that competition. Because now we see if I got to compete a little bit, if a guy might be a little better than me, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's what the guys are doing now. So I think it really speaks a lot to what Coach Freeman has done with the program, is that you see a lot of older guys there, guys who were there with Coach Kelly, guys who decided to say, I'm gonna stick it out with Coach Freeman, even though he wasn't the coach that might have recruited me. So I think those are the guys that Notre Dame is gonna keep on getting. As far as the NIL thing. I think they keep getting their money, let them enjoy. It's obvious it's a wild west right now. The high school, it's just when it creeping into high school, it's just I hate that so much, because it's like, man, like
that's wrong. It's
like
just
when I seen the kid, I forgot the kid from Texas, maybe, who sat out his whole senior year, because he got paid
in high school.
He sat out his whole senior year because he got paid 1.5 mil.
I'm telling you, man, it's just.
Oh wow, I didn't hear about that. That's different.
See, that's where the government stuck their toe in it and they mucked it up. Now there's a chance for them to stick their toe back in and sort of right the wrong when it comes to that level. The other thing about the portal in Notre Dame, one of the great things about it is you're going to get an education at the University of Notre Dame. And there's no tell, you could get hurt. Who knows? But your Notre Dame education has so much value. And the other thing is when you look at the portal, we talk about recruiting and guys moving from team to team. A lot of these young guys think they have talent. They're talented individuals, but it's not developed.
Yes.
You spent 4 years at Notre Dame. How good a running back were you, CJ, when you were at Notre Dame your freshman year versus when you left?
Didn't even play running back until senior year.
Better were you as a football player?
Exactly. I know.
What now is you get all these young guys that are moving from school to school. They're getting no training. And remember, at the college level, coaches can only spend 20 hours a week with the player.
Yeah.
It's not like the NFL.
That's a little bit.
That's a day and a half for us.
Right.
Maybe a little, maybe a full day at the NFL level.
Right.
So where are you going to get the training to be a great blocker, a great runner, a great DB? Where are you going to get that from if you're going from place to place to place?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm learning one technique. I'm learning another technique. To me, it hurts you as a player.
Absolutely.
If you're really that good, stay where you are.
Stay where you're at.
Fight for the job. And people are going to recognize it. And then after a couple of years, if it doesn't work, hey, at least you got some foundation under you.
Right.
Instead of just hopping after the first.
And it's like, some guys, it's like, hey, guys, you got to play 3 years anyway. You got to good in there for 3 years. You got to. So it's like, you might as well got to go at least go one place. You don't have to go all over the place. But
we agree.
We definitely agree on that one. But I do want to throw my underdog of the week in there before we get out of here. Jason Onye, he blocked the field goal, and then after that we kind of just started running through him at that point. So Jason Onye, hell of a game. I think you guys his first tackle last week against Navy. He had 5 tackles this week. A guy is definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not team underdog for much longer. He was looking kind of
He moving up. He's definitely moving up to the industry. Definitely moving up industry, man.
My guys, I don't know. I'm not sure of his name. Our tight end.
Yes.
Number 88.
Yes.
Not Holston. No, not Holden. Holden stays. He's the other one, but the other one is 88. Yeah.
Yep. I just I think that with moving on to the position, I think that it becomes very valuable in the passing game. Especially what we want to do, as much as we want to run the football.
Absolutely.
You're going to get the safeties up, and all of a sudden you're going to have the middle of the football field. But I love everything about what the university is doing. I'm excited to get out there. Like I said, I'll be at the bookstore on Saturday before the Ohio State game. Hoping people stop by and say hi, because I may have worn burgundy and gold, but I still bleed green and gold.
Yes, sir.
Actually, for me, it was blue and gold. We didn't have all those different helmets and colors, man.
Right.
We had gold helmets, blue jerseys, white jerseys, and gold pants. That was it. That was my word. Real simple.
Have you seen any Have you seen any new of the Notre Dame jerseys that you were like, ooh, I wish I could have wore that one. I wish I could have put that one on. Has there been any of the Shamrock series
I'm
that you
anxious
like?
to look at them. I'm anxious to look
Okay.
at.
All right.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
No, they look
I
pretty
just,
nice sometimes.
I'm a, I think so much of Notre Dame is a tradition, and I'm a traditionalist. So being able to have the gold helmet, being able to put on that uniform. As a matter of fact, what a lot of people don't realize is I practiced, I think, for a Cotton Bowl because I've seen pictures with the number 41 on. And, it's like I just saw a picture of the other day. Somebody sent it. And it's like, holy, I forgot all about that. But I've
Man,
always been, when I
throwback.
was at Notre Dame, you couldn't wear double digit numbers. The quarterback position did not have double digits. Coley O'Brien was 3, Terry Hanratty was 5, I was 7, Bob Belden was 9. We didn't have. I don't know. Was Rick Meyer? Rick might have been the first, possibly, to wear a double digit at the
Trendsetter
university.
right there.
I love the traditions we have there.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
that's awesome, man.
Can't beat
Thank
it.
you so much, Joe,
Yes,
for
sir.
coming
Thank
on.
you.
Oh,
Thank
guys,
you.
thanks for having
Absolutely
me. Man. Lots
appreciate
of
you.
luck with the shows. You guys are terrific.
Sure.
It's fun being with you. Hopefully, we'll do it again.
Yes, sir. And
Oh
Joe,
yeah,
wait,
most
one
definitely. We'll
last
have to
question
bring
for
it
you, Joe.
back.
One last question. So we're young into the game. Just finished our football careers, going into our sports casting or podcast careers. What's the one piece of advice you got for us?
I would say this: when you ask your question, and this happens with a lot of people that do interviews, they ask questions and all of a sudden they make it multiple choice. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's say with CJ. Okay. Hey, CJ, listen, great being with you. Thank you so much. When you played at the University of Notre Dame, what was it like? That's the question. Then what happens, the mistake people make would say, what's it like? Did you enjoy being on campus? Did you enjoy not, what was it like not having a fraternity? Don't give multiple choice.
Right.
Ask the question, let the person answer it, listen to what they say, and then develop other questions as the conversation goes on from what they have to say. So you have your list of questions, you have the things you want to talk about, but then, I found in doing interviews, I'll have a list of 10 questions, I'll get to 2
Right.
because the person that I'm interviewing all of a sudden starts to take me in a different direction.
Yeah.
Stuff
And
like
you got to be able to follow that, and you got to be able to flow with
that
that.
makes for a clean interview. Plus, you give the person who's the guest the opportunity to be able to talk about the reason why you have them on the show.
Right. Yeah.
But you guys, I'm saying you guys did a terrific job, but I'm saying that to me is the one thing I see when it comes to interviews is people so often ask a question and they give this multiple choice.
Yeah.
No.
Give me one question. That's it.
Say
Yeah.
just one question, one at a
Yes,
time,
sir.
one at a time.
One question,
Yes,
one
sir.
answer, and then you take it from there.
Oh yeah. Well,
sir.
we appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
Joe. We appreciate you, everything you've done for the game, everything you've done for Notre Dame. And we hope to see you at Ohio State. I will be up there for USC.
Great.
But hopefully we can get everybody out, everybody, and see the lucky underdogs. And glad everybody came out to see us.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Good luck.
You.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Signing off from Lucky Underdogs, brought to you by Believe Network. Check us out on Bally Sports in Cincinnati. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. As always, go Irish.
You got it. Bye, guys.